Hey everybody, it's the Last RoboKai here, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Space Marine. Last time we reunited with Inquisitor Drogon, and we decided we needed to go to the Kalkys Facility, where this whole power source weapon thing came up, and we have to go there to activate something called the Psychic Scourge, which, as the case when the power source was being used at the Manufactorum, it can still blow up the planet. So, joining me on this incredibly brilliant idea is...
Hey, it's Cool Guy, and yeah, this is totally a brilliant idea. There is absolutely no way the warp and psychic power can possibly mix poorly. I mean, it's just never happened.
To be fair, though, we are dealing with a situation where the orc invasion is now full blown. Before it was like a little smash and grab, now it's just fucking raining rocks. That's a bad situation for the whole Protect of the Titan objective that the Ultramarines had going. So,
a fair point.
It's only going to get crazier from here, folks, and the best way to start it is with a flight of the Valkyries. Let's get to it.
Pilots, this is Lieutenant Mira aboard Valkyrie 1. Look sharp, all flyers inbound.
Captain Titus, I need a gunner to man the heavy bolter.
Yep, we get ourselves this beautiful looking sequence where we're just tearing through the sky, there's fighter bombers going around, and we're being attacked by an enemy unique to this stage. Orc Storm Boys.
Oh man.
Pilot, match speed.
Occasionally you'll have little moments like this where there'll be some Storm Boys sitting atop a Valkyrie. That doesn't really change much if you save them or if you don't. But, you know, kill orcs. Kill all orcs.
Hey, you get a nice little thanks, so, you know, that's worth it in my mind.
Yes, indeed. I like the entire concept of Storm Boys. We talked about it in Dawn of War 2, but these are the orcs that basically decided to, in their teen years, to go through Teen Rebellion, and by doing that, they eschew most of the orcish behavior of being wildly rebellious and fighting each other and trying to be the best by basically pretending to be Imperial Guardsmen, but also by wearing gigantic, unstable rocket packs because they want to show everyone how amazing they are flying in formation. As you can see, they're not armed with much, but jeez, like this, I love this stage because there's so much, like, you know, there's not a huge amount going on, but look at the background. You can see the grand scale of everything you're moving around. There's all these fighter bombers tearing through the sky, and there's this thing.
Hi! That came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you totally did that.
I would have liked to have kept shooting, but it makes you undo it. Apparently, like one of these Storm Boys, the last one that tears up, throws a grenade, but he never gets that chance as far as I'm concerned.
This is such a rare way to depict Storm Boys too. Usually, you know, their rocket packs work exactly like jump packs. You go up, you go down. That's pretty much it. They never show them flying around like the rockets here, and it is beautiful.
Yeah, not exactly how I'd want to go, but
I suppose it worked to bring the Valkyrie down.
Now we get ourselves a little gameplay sequence, just where we've got to clear the bridge up, because we need a pickup now.
Come in, Lieutenant. Valkyrie 2 is down. I require immediate transport.
We're on approach, Captain.
The game has changed up our war gear as well. I thought I was going to actually have to unequip the Thunderhammer, but it's taken us back to Chainsword Land, and our las cannon has been replaced with a Stalker. That's okay, there's nothing here that a Stalker bolter can't fix.
There is, however, you know, slugger boys that will piss you off while you're trying to use it.
Yeah, like I have so many problems with running out of ammo and having to reload while everything goes wrong around me.
Boom! Beautiful shot!
Yeah, I love the slow motion explosion effects from this stuff. It's like, I'll even shoot the grunt, I don't care. Yeah, we've all seen this before, but boy is it always nice to keep seeing.
Yeah, it's one of those simple pleasures in life. You don't want to forget them, lest you get desensitized to them.
Yeah. You get attacked by quite a significant number of waves here. I think maybe 4 or 5. They'll always have a few Scar Boys and everything in them. You know, you've got the three rocket boys and a shooter boy, who you can see is now pew-pewing away at us. The Scar boys and Orc boys are always in the charges. It's you know, it's a nice little thing. You want to advance forwards, take them on. They've got themselves quite a nice little stronghold here, actually. I've got to wonder, like, if it was just to hold out against some other force, or if they just, you know, felt like this was a good place to set up camp and hang out.
I always imagine that these little things are like rear guards, and they spend all day just hanging around bitching about how they're not in a fight.
Well, the fight came to them. Nothing to complain about now.
Valkyrie on approach.
What is the Inquisitor's status?
The remainder of the squadron has escorted his craft to the outskirts of the Kalkys Facility.
Very good.
And there ends that little sequence. Although it looks like they're actually out in front of a building when they do that there.
Farewell, Captain. I must return to base. Those damned Orc flyers cost me too many good men and too many gunships. We'll be hard-pressed to defend the outpost.
Thank you. And good luck, Lieutenant.
It's alright, Mira. You gave us an awesome sequence. Giant Spire.
Where is it?
The device is secure, Drogon.
What are you waiting for, then? Further delay is intolerable. Inquisitor, are you all right? Yes. Come. There's no time to waste.
Yeah, okay.
we've got a planet to crack, apparently.
Yeah, so freaking weird. This guy is. I mean, he's as mercurial as they say Lorgar was in the lore. That was part of the thing. It was Marnius Calgar who criticized Lorgar, the Primarch of the Word Bearers, as, you know, he's 1 minute he's like really eager to be your friend, and the next he's just completely inconsolable because you offended him somehow. That's really the sort of thing that I get from Drogon a lot of times.
Yeah, he's not quite sure where he is half the time, it seems. Then again, he has had probably a pretty bad day, all things considered. I mean,
yeah.
His entire kill all Xenos thing stems primarily from the fact that, you know, as you can see, he's got like a, you know, half of his skull replaced with metal, and he's missing an arm. I imagine an alien attack is probably one of the least favorite things for him to want to be anywhere near. Nice landing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of which...
Orcs and collateral damage, they don't really care.
Whatever. A couple of shooter boys is
funny.
not a big deal.
Benjamin, I feel like I'm leaving breadcrumbs for you to follow. We can't wait for you here. The shift group left without us. The whole idea was safety in numbers, but they didn't bother to wait. This hab block's completely looted. We're heading for Evacuation Center Epsilon. Look for us there. Be careful, Ben.
I'm not sure safety in numbers against orcs would do so well.
It's kind of hard to say. I mean, on one hand, no, they're not going to be intimidated by a bunch of humans as opposed to a couple of humans. But by the same token, there's also like the entire cow mentality thing. They can't kill all of you, maybe.
Yeah, that might be it. So here's another sequence where I honestly, this entire sequence just makes me hate Rocket Boys so bad, because you're gonna have to just spend so much of your goddamn fury just taking these idiots out, because they just rail your health, they rail your everything else. You know, just gotta pop them and drop them.
Yeah, the most obnoxious thing about these jerks is that you cannot get away from that. I mean, even if you see them firing at you, what are you gonna do? Roll? Oh, okay, great. Now you'll only get a glancing hit instead of a direct hit, which is almost as bad.
Fortunately, practicing this level... Oh, hello, Nub. That kind of surprised me. I forgot he was there.
I heard him, and then you kept walking forward into him, and I was just like, does he have a plan?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Here's my plan.
Your head explode. That will never get old.
Oh dear. At first I thought, like, I should correct myself, I thought you were pulling, like, we were pulling them apart by their bottom teeth. We're actually just ripping their jaw open, which is fairly metal as well.
Yeah, if anything, that's more metal.
Like, seriously, what the hell? How the hell are you even supposed to deal with that? Walk around the corner, you immediately eat a rocket.
Oh, man. It does give you a good idea of exactly how well armored Space Marines are, though.
Yeah, that thing's designed to give a tank a good effing. We just caught it to the face. It's all
Just
good.
like, whatever.
Inquisitor, can we get around the bulk of these orcs?
Yes, perhaps. My research produces a minimal waste, so the facility's sluiceways should be accessible.
Lead the way.
Minimal waste.
Radio says the orcs are 2 streets away.
Help me with this, Thomas. Hurry.
What are you injecting him with? Stop! This is a fatal dose!
Yes, it is. I have enough of your patient. I'm showing them mercy. In 10 minutes, the orcs will break through those doors and slaughter them all in their beds. Let them die in peace before that. It's the last thing I can do.
Well, that was dark.
Yeah, that's this orc invasion ain't nothing to sneeze at. That's pretty much how it ends for Medicaid Station Ventrius.
Man, I'm kind of torn. On one hand, I have a real chip on my shoulder for doctors who ignore the Hippocratic Oath. I know that's not necessarily a thing in Warhammer 40k, but whatever. It is what it is. But by the same token, she's not wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. Like orcs 10 minutes away. I think that counts as palliative care. Very quick palliative care.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you.
Insert dubstep there.
The last cannon almost lends itself to dubstep because you know once the drop starts, you can just start flashing everything.
Oh, it was mostly just the no scope. It's like, I don't want to go over and get that ammo. I want to like las cannon that one orc out, but then it's like, okay, fine, jeez, all right.
You're gonna force me into these things.
Yeah, you really don't want to try and cross that. It's just you just eat so many missiles, you get tied up by all these scar boys. That is pretty much the entirety of like all of the fights in this area. Is that they basically just bait you into close combat with a few enemies and then rocket you to death.
Hi, tank busters. The other thing that will never get old is just watching people react when you hit them in the face with a grenade. I imagine it's just like throwing a fastball in a major league game. That worked.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there. Like, I'm trying to hit that guy. I thought he was alive, but then he just kind of death animated.
Really whatever. Quickly. Your squad mate had it all under control. I think that's Leandros.
Just kind of rubbing up against him. Yeah, Leandros wasn't actually even doing anything. I think it was just like he was ignoring him, hoping he would go away, and he did.
The orc just sort of died of embarrassment.
What's the hell? It's a fight now! That's more than that to get my servitors were destroyed in the initial attack. I may need your help to activate the psychic Scourge.
How large is the weapon?
The firing mechanism is at my research lab, but the energy pulse itself travels along conduits from the lab to the orbital spire.
That's that big tower I was looking at when we first landed here.
There.
More or less a space elevator.
Through that door.
Here's a nice little sequence. We're going to be setting up camp here for a little bit while Drogon tries to get that door open. That Thunderhammer is a trap, as far as I'm concerned. Ha! Everybody will pick up that Thunderhammer, and they will have a very rough time of it because you will get mobbed. Also, Drogon.
I need time.
Drogon!
The lock, Captain.
Damn it, Drogon!
Just gonna give him a quick clip around the ears for that one. Fucking projects himself in the sky and then teleports.
Oh man.
Like I haven't had enough trouble from his shenanigans. So yeah, your best friend for this scenario is your bolt gun, your grenades, and your melter gun.
Yeah, I got completely turned sideways in this situation. Not because of these first couple of waves that are mostly melee, for the waves that come after.
Yeah, they pour it on. And you put enough bolt fire into these guys, you can stop them. But
what the heck are they? Then eventually they're just going to start showering you with like actual ranged fire. And the issue there is if you're using the Thunder Hammer, you have nothing to really fight that with at all.
Yeah, you don't get much of an answer. All these different points they can come at you at. Hard boys. Melter gun does a really nice job on these guys.
They really do. Yeah. That was the other time. The other thing that I missed, like almost for the entire time in my first playthrough, was that I was just like, oh, okay, hard boys. I'll just use the Thunder Hammer, and that'll be the best thing, right? Absolutely freaking not. You know, the Melta gun is perfect because it does an obscene amount of damage, and it keeps you out of their striking range. And their striking range is a big deal because they always freaking snipe you.
It's like I think about going for that guy now. Now it's time to go back in. The door's open, and it's at this point they just swarm you. Like, don't hang around. You will get mobbed and murdered.
I so remember having to. Oh man, nice parting shot. That was gorgeous. Yeah, I still remember. I remember getting like showered with rockets there and stuff. Maybe a tripping.
Spire to be a ground to space transporter.
It is. With a few modifications, it also makes an ideal firing tower. The energy pulse should not damage the Spire.
You do not sound confident.
Improvisation and experimentation go hand in hand.
Then why do you sound so unconfident, you jerk?
Sidonus is just calling him out every single step of the way in this episode. It's good. So this section's a neat little one because they just got so much dust whooshing through the area at the moment. It can be a little hard to see where the squig bombers are coming from, except by the light of their fuses. So you gotta be careful. Also, they can come up like that out of nowhere as well, which can be a little frightening.
I know. My eyes sort of like shot open, and I was just like, oh crap.
Well, they were handy enough to get stuck in that little bit of terrain there as well, which was nice of them. Pile up together, put a squig on top.
I do remember my arteries hardening here because the lowered visibility, you don't think too much of it when you start getting in here. But if you're playing on hard and you die 3 times here, it starts to get it starts
you
to
start clenching.
Yeah, it starts to. Oh, you blew up drunk, and I love you for it.
Yeah, he's just gonna get bopped a lot. He's invincible, which was awfully nice of Relic to do that. You know, we're gonna be escorting him around. He's never gonna be in that much trouble. You know.
I like how just a couple of orc legs jumped up.
Probably the most helpful thing about the dust is still you can get your little crosshair lit up, and that can help you figure out if you're actually going to be shooting something or not.
All over. Just like, show's over, I'm tired.
I make a little mistake here, I take some damage, or I could have avoided it, because if you actually move forward enough so that you're standing underneath the pipe, that I'm sort of under here, the rockets they fire up and over just bounce off the top. That was a little bit unnecessary damage, didn't kill me, doesn't matter, but that's just a little pro tip for everybody. Yep. Pretend this is actually like a gameplay informative as well as just waffling about lore.
We're all going to die out here!
You are an Imperial Guardsman. Start acting like one.
But, Lieutenant!
We're not dead yet. So do your bloody job and defend the line before they...
you've really got to like let Lieutenant Mira have a bit more recording time. I'm not sure how many sentences she's actually managed to finish over the course of these servo skulls.
Yeah, she deserves a lot more. I don't know what Relic is going to be doing with the. Okay, that's just there is just no situation where grot punching will not be funny.
Every single one.
If I can finish my thought, I don't know what they're going to do with Space Marine or the Warhammer 40k franchise now that Sega has it. Right now they've been doing a bunch of more casual games, like a chess game, and just not AAA games. But whatever they do, I hope they bring Mira back for something, because she's too cool to just leave languishing in this game.
Is Sega actually involved in that one? Because I was under the impression that they were just like the Games Workshop were just handing their license out like candy to people at the moment just to see what they make, and that Sega just had the rights to Space Marine and Dawn of War 3.
My understanding had been that Sega was the one who actually holds it right now, and
Oh yes.
Not Games Workshop. Relic owns the IP to stuff like Dawn of War and all like that, but Sega isn't interested in working with them on it right now. I could be wrong. That entire thing is such a legal morass, and I am not a lawyer.
Speaking of a morass, we're going to be sort of slodging our way through probably one of the lesser enjoyable combat scenarios. Like, I really like the area, I like this lab, I like the appearance of it and everything that's in it. I just really hate the fact that we're going to have to stop occasionally and try and snipe a whole bunch of auto turrets. It's, you can't ever straight up engage these things. They will be pains in the backside the whole way through.
It also doesn't make a whole lot of sense. This is something that I've come to really hate as a game cliche. People like to use automatic turrets, but they rarely use them in a way that makes any sense at all. I mean, everything else that's marked with the Adeptus Mechanicus' skull here knows that you're a Space Marine, but these things just sort of randomly don't.
Yeah, well, that's probably because inquisitorial settings.
And yeah, now we have to make another like random cutoff to a security room, because that hasn't been done enough.
Well, we've gotten to see a whole lot of teleporting and other nonsense as a result as well. I'm not entirely sure if shooting it in the skull actually does this any better. I could have taken the las cannon, but I always feel like that runs out of ammunition way too quickly. Because there are a lot of these things you have to put up with, and sometimes it takes 2 shots. The big problem with the missile turrets is that they stun lock you, and it is an absolute pain. Like, they will hit you, you'll stagger. They'll have already had another one launched and ready for you. Sometimes they can stagger you out of cover into like the range of a whole bunch of other turrets, like these ones. So I really just sort of, waffling through trying to take care of these guys. Look at that. Almost entirely out of ammunition for them.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I was going to berate you for worrying about ammo in a game that's typically so generous with it, but then you sort of proved your point. Like 30 seconds later.
And there are a lot more Stalker Bolters left around that you can fill up on ammo with than there are las cannons. You can only really refill off of the little ammo pack things that were like there, whereas you can just get a full refill by trading your gun.
I like how they leave those explosive barrels there at random points along the line. Of course, to use them, you have to tank the damage from the freaking turret for altogether too long.
Another trap.
The orcs have thrown my duties into chaos. I only get distress calls now. The Xenos are here. The Hablock's on fire. And today, Transmechanic Alaric insisted I contact every single planetary defense outpost. 100 stations. He just didn't want to do it himself. None of the stations picked up. When I told him that, Alaric rushed off. No acknowledgement, no thanks. I suppose even an orc invasion can't change some people.
Jesus God, leave it alone, man.
The entire planet's going to shit, and Petronius is just being a shitlord, and I love it.
Grind your axe a little bit harder.
The logic engine thinks we are escaped Xenos specimens. There is a control panel in the side room. Get me there, and I can shut it down.
You are a terrible person, and that bad things should happen to you.
The logic engine isn't.
It's not logicking. Oh, God.
I don't know why the eyes on this one really freaked me out a little. I don't know, it might be the angle and the crosshair that was on it, but all I could think was am I kawaii? Ugu. No, I have no idea whether or not these orcs were brought here before all this madness started, or if Drogon had been collecting them in the meantime. But
going with the latter, probably.
However, I'm afraid the servo turrets beyond this room remain primed.
You are a terrible person, and bad things should happen to you. Frickin' Drogon. Oh, you can shut it down. Yeah, I actually can't shut it down.
What is kept in these containers?
Specimens needed for my research.
Specimens, cages, operating theaters. This place reeks of Xenos filth.
That is the business of the Inquisition.
Just because you're right doesn't mean I have to like it.
No. We can dislike this as much as we possibly can.
Hating this as much as Waluigi.
This is something that I cannot dislike. It's time for us to upgrade our humble little bolter. We'll be switching it with the Kraken bolter, which is designed to fire armor-piercing rounds. The Kraken ammunition. So now we got ourselves a meteor bolter.
A very, very welcome upgrade.
We're so gonna need it. But interesting thing, looking up stuff about the adamantium.
Excellent.
The adamantium tipping in the Kraken bolts is what makes them so different and punchier.
Facility?
No, not precisely. The core actually raises to the rooftop of the facility. That is where the rest of the firing array is located.
What I found really funny when I read up on the standard bolter ammunition is it turns out, you know, the Kraken has the adamantium tip so that it can punch through armor easier, and then when the thing detonates, it sprays like pieces of metal all throughout the inside of someone's body. Apparently, standard bolter rounds are tipped with depleted uranium.
Really? I never realized that. That is
well. That's what reading various wikis about Warhammer 40,000 tells me. There's something like goddamn near 20 different types of rounds for a bolter as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, there is. I always kind of like that, just because it explains why bolters are in such prevalent use. I mean, you can just sort of load a different mag in them, and you know that you're fit for fight on a different enemy. So I really like that particular bit of fluff. But yeah. Depleted uranium, if the Lexiconum in particular pointed that out, it's almost certainly true. The Lexiconum is just absolutely vicious with its quality control.
Luckily, this being a third-person action game, shooting quite often just lets you clear straight through cover, or even if you slightly wing these turrets, you can take them out.
Yeah, I can't even bat my eye at that. The whole soft.
I'll take every little advantage I can get for this.
No, and you do well to take them because turrets. Jerks.
Yeah, let's look at how much damage you do just because I ran out of ammunition at a very inopportune moment.
The orcs broke into the temple. I couldn't hear them. I was plugged into my console. Then someone crashed into me, hard from behind. It was transmechanic Alaric. He had an orc axe in his chest. He'd blocked the attack meant for me. The orc went berserk. He grabbed for me, but only caught me. I ripped free and ran. Saved me. Died. Saving me.
Well, that someone feels like a right dickhead now.
Yeah, at least you figured out exactly how much of a jerk you were being.
R.I.P. Transmechanic Alaric. It turns out you were just someone with better priorities than Petronius.
Like to have a beer with Alaric, not so much Petronius. Hey, look, one of those explosive barrels actually did something.
So it's like, run down the hallway. No, wait. Missiles.
That's really all that these turrets end up doing is they slow down the action in a place where, you know, they can't reasonably have a bunch of orcs. And I get that. You don't want to just have like 15 minutes of running through corridors, but I don't think this was a very elegant solution to the problem.
No. But you know, it's at least this is the only section of its kind.
Yeah, you know, I mean, this is not the biggest. This area is not the biggest complaint about this game, but it's one of the bigger ones, and I think that speaks very well of the game. You know, I mean, if you have, I think this game ends up weighing in at about 8 to 10 hours playtime. If you have 15 minutes of it that's boring, that's a pretty darn good ratio. You know?
Yeah.
Give some freaking credit.
And I'm just gonna stand at extreme range and kill everything when it can't target me.
Yeah, well, that's really the only strategy that you can take with these darn things. Not even anything to execute.
Now we get a Purity Seal, gives us a little boost to our Emperor's Fury accumulation rate.
Oh, good. So you'll get pissed off more often.
Yeah, and that's very handy. Because you're gonna need it. Like I say, everything they give us, you're gonna need it.
Totally just pogromed a bunch of orcs using it this episode. I think you've weighed in on how useful it is.
They were the only thing keeping the orcs outside, however.
But you will be able to fire the weapon.
Indeed.
We had better do so quickly. This place will be awash with orcs before long.
Of course. Security systems disabled.
Authorization recognized. Releasing safeguards.
Please proceed to the generator room.
Well, more giant chambers.
The scale of this is definitely awe-inspiring. Remember, by the way, that Titus is about 8 feet tall.
And this is, you know, now that we're not shooting crappy little turrets, this is the Kraken Bolter in action. You can see it takes a lot less shots for it to drop your standard orc. It's never gonna, you know, it's still gonna take a few clips if you wanna, like, try and do a knob with it, but it's still far more punchy than it was, and the fodder becomes even more foddery.
That bomb squid. He's just trying to sneak by.
Canister
Damn, that's
cradled inside the power core, Captain.
Do we risk exposure again?
Only if you drop the canister.
I do like that too. Risky exposure only if you fuck it up again, you idiot. Next time use the device, you idiot.
Began with 2 simple questions. On that day, my ship had just entered the dimensional limbo of the warp. Most people do not like to think of the warp's true nature. After all, it lets us travel between the stars. But the warp is the realm of chaos. Creatures of absolute evil and absolute power take their strength directly from it. So, I asked my questions. Could I tap into that power? And what could I do with it?
You're a terrible engineer, a terrible scientist, and a terrible person.
and your boxes are all extremely light and flippy as well. As
I did like how you kicked a couple of them over the railing just because you could.
I wanted to science.
Very good, Captain. Your time carrying my power source is finally at an end.
Stand clear. Psychic Scourge firing sequence commencing. Alarm. Structural damage. Warning. Emergency containment rights commencing.
Damnable thing!
What do you need me to do, Inquisitor?
You'll need to manually restart the array alignment. Forcibly, if you must.
Where?
In the firing chamber. Board the lift, Ultramarines.
The firing chamber. This will end beautifully.
Well, you know, I guess we were always going to be seeing it the whole way through. We were going to be seeing it from the best seat in the house.
Captain, you must hurry. The damned orcs have cut the main conduits to the firing tower.
You must reconnect the conduits, Captain, or we're facing an overload that will rip this planet apart.
Understood.
It's like we had had things shut down for what, 5 minutes, and the orcs have already managed to get in and start looting stuff. I admire their dedication.
Also, their direction.
Yeah, considering we're like at the upper end of the facility, they've managed to somehow get up there.
You can only imagine it's like the Storm Boys that are doing this, which makes sense because they would be the only ones with enough discipline to follow a damn order. I maintain that those guys are just Storm Boys that, you know, lost their packs. I've always wondered what's on that thing there. Is it like a README file?
Looking at it, it just kind of looks like a bunch of lorem ipsum.
Proceed to the main control panel.
So, a README file.
Yeah, basically. I would have loved to have seen a little prayer there, but you know, I'm not gonna complain about it. And there's the power source, just sitting in the middle of this giant, strange, 8-pointed thingy that is the Psychic Scourge. And
it's not on
next episode we're gonna fire it because, well, it's a pretty big deal firing the Psychic Scourge, and we've already gone a fair way into the video now, 35 minutes in total. So.
I mean, cliffhangers are not usually our thing, but in this case, it's very much justified. To give you an idea, my palms are sweaty with this, and I played this game last about 18 months ago, so it's kind of a strong memory.
Yeah, this is gonna be great, and it will be delivered on time. So don't worry, we're not going to, well, you know, barring any accidents anyway, we're not gonna hold off on this one. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another episode. Next time we'll be firing off that Psychic Scourge and seeing what kind of madness results. I've been the Last Robot Guy.
And I've been Cool Guy.
And we'll see you all next time when, well, let's just say, going off with a bang is probably the best way to describe the whole next sequence, except that the bang lasts for a very long period of time.